Yo. Back at it again, baby. Story out of New York City, man. New York City. And this story it's like 2 days old now, right? And a couple people on YouTube covered it. But I think they could have did better, man. I really do. Not to shade them, but people do what they're comfortable with. And I think a lot of information was left out. So this is the case of Imani Armstrong. She was a dancer in New York City from Virginia. And she was murdered 2 days ago. So, like I said, it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to talk about with this shit. As far as family, we could talk about the victim, which was Imani Armstrong, and the suspect. Like, each one of these situations have an individual story that should be told. What's the name of the dude? Clarkson Wilson. That's the suspect. So we're going to talk about Imani Armstrong, Clarkson Wilson, and we're going to talk about the family of Imani Armstrong. Because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. But before I continue, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share, all that good shit. And we're going to roll the tape.
Gun violence in New York City, this time in the East Village. A 25-year-old woman shot in the head just a block from Union Square Park early this morning. The gunman ran off and has not yet been caught. Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller has more.
And police say they are still trying to figure out exactly what led up to this shooting. A woman shot and killed at 5 o'clock in the morning, just steps from Union Square.
A boom, a loud boom, and that's it.
Coffee cart owner John P. heard that single gunshot as he was setting up for the day, and he knew exactly what it was.
Lately, it's becoming normal in the city. You know, it's every day, every single day. If it's not in the city, it's in Bronx, it's in Brooklyn. I mean, it's something normal now lately.
Police say the shooting happened at 5 o'clock this morning on East 14th at Irving Place. A 25-year-old woman shot in the head and murdered right on the sidewalk. A team with the medical examiner's office took the woman's body away just after 9 this morning. So far, police are only releasing a vague description of the suspect and few details about a motive. But late this morning, Mayor Eric Adams revealed the violence was not random.
It appears as though the young lady was an intended target. We're unclear yet, but we're going to continue the investigation. It's still new. We don't have much more than that at this time. But again, it really highlights what the governor and I talked about yesterday and what we're continuing to talk about, the overproliferation of guns on our streets and people using them for violent means.
And it's concerning to Sophia Frederick, who walks this block early every morning to get to work.
It's just a sad situation. You never expect something like that to happen in this area.
The 13th precinct has not had any murders this year until back-to-back killings over the past 2 days. Just yesterday morning, a 38-year-old man was fatally stabbed on 7th Avenue in Chelsea. And again, right now, the motive remains unclear. Police say they are still investigating.
So like I said, as you see, murdered on the way to work. Oh, getting off of work. Worked 2 jobs. She was a stripper, and she worked at IHOP. And it's fucked up on so many different levels. Because you got Clarkson Wilson is a guy that been to prison or jail numerous of times. And I don't like them type of dudes, man, because they make that shit hard for people like me. Dudes that went to jail or prison and changed their life. You know, that's why they got all these repeat offenders. They want to give repeat offenders more time. It's because of people like him. And then people like me get caught up in the mix of that. I mean, people like me that stay out of trouble for 10, 15 years, or slip up and make a mistake 10 years down the line and get treated like a career criminal. And with this video, I'm not going to go into depth about how I feel about him. For everybody that follow my channel, you familiar with how I feel about women getting killed. I don't like that. So, they didn't give you the full details as normal with the news articles. So I'm going to read this. Chilling new details emerged Sunday in the murder of an exotic dancer in Gramercy Park, including how her accused killer lied in wait outside her workplace for 5 hours before executing her in cold blood. Suspected pimp Clarkson Wilson, who had at least one child with the victim, stripper and part-time IHOP waitress Amani Armstrong, then went to a subway station to change clothes and hopped on the train home to Brooklyn, where cops eventually found his discarded dubs in the garbage. Prosecutors revealed at his arraignment. Wilson, 44, faces a second-degree murder rap for allegedly killing Armstrong after she finished up her shift at a Manhattan IHOP early Thursday. No motive has yet been given in the case. Wilson made his first court appearance Sunday, where prosecutors say he blasted Armstrong in cold blood with one shot to the back of her head. Wilson can be seen on video, first taking a subway train to Manhattan and waiting outside of an IHOP for 5 hours, prosecutors said. Video then allegedly showed him following Armstrong for several blocks after she got off work. He put on a sweatshirt and a mask and ran up behind her to deliver the fatal bullet, prosecutors said. He then left the scene, changed clothes inside the subway station, and took the train back to Brooklyn. Detectives also recovered 2 guns inside a safe at the apartment, officials said. The repeat felon was remanded without bail after the judge deemed him a flight risk. Cops later searched his home and found the clothes he wore during the killing inside a garbage bag. Wilson has more than 20 arrests on his rap sheet, including several for domestic violence. Law enforcement sources previously told the Post that Wilson is a pimp and was arrested in 2018 for slashing a woman for refusing to be trafficked by him. The victim in that incident needed 150 stitches, and Wilson was initially charged with attempted murder before the case fell apart. Wilson, who didn't speak at Sunday's hearing, is due back in court September 8th. So, more information came out. You see that he stalked her, fouled her for 5 blocks, shot her in the back of the head, execution style. She probably never seen it coming. That's cowardly shit. But what made me want to do this video, right? Because at first I just looked at it like, you know, it's a typical news article. Shit like that happened. Yeah, it's fucked up, but there's nothing about it that stands out. But when I read this other article about her and who she was and where she came from, it made me change my perspective. To whoever did this, all I can say is God have mercy on your soul. Armstrong, strong-headed, said in a phone interview from Virginia, the thing is, we are hurt. But we have to forgive. Hurt people, so this person is hurt. The one that is going to judge them is God. And when God judges you, it's the worst judgment, she added. God said, vengeance is mine, so I'll leave it up to God. Armstrong had moved to the Big Apple from Virginia about 3 years ago to be with a woman who later became her wife, then kept communication with her disapproving family to a minimum, according to her aunt. When her kin heard that Armstrong had been fatally shot by a masked gunman, they also learned she had been dancing and spent months in a shelter for domestic abuse victims. She probably didn't tell us because she knew we would have taken some type of action. We just found out, Armstrong Heading 50 said. All this was going on and no one knew. Armstrong, who danced at an unspecified club using the name Lled, had recently separated from her wife and had 2 children in foster care when she was fatally shot. The family was left questioning, why didn't she come back home for help? She knew she can always come back here. I don't know if it was pride or wanting to do it on her own that stopped her, Armstrong Hitting said. We don't blame, we don't judge, we don't knock you. That's not the type of family we are. You went outside of the state. It didn't work. You come back home. We are going to help you. It says she didn't reach out. Armstrong Hitting is the eldest of 9 of Armstrong's aunts and uncles and said she had custody of one of her niece's children, 7-year-old Lillian, for a short time. Armstrong's broken-hearted father, Paul Armstrong III, and other family members are now trying to get the slain dancer's children out of foster care, she said. I pray that no one has told the children, especially Lily. I want the family to tell them first, she said. Lily was really, really close to her. We know how to talk to her. She might need counseling. We need to be able to get her the help she needs and to process it. Armstrong was born in Virginia and spent several years in Texas with her grandmother who raised her before she returned about 8 years ago, Armstrong Hitting said. It was there she had Lillian, who was named after her great-grandmother. Amani also had a second child, a boy, while in Virginia. A third child was put up for adoption, the aunt said. But around 2018, Armstrong started a relationship with her future wife, and within 9 months had followed her to the Big Apple. The family knew her kids ended up in foster care, but they didn't know the couple had married or that relationship grew troubled. She would call periodically, sometimes asking for money, but largely kept her family in the dark, her aunt said. She didn't say what was going on in her life because the family disapproved of that girl, so she kind of kept us out of her life at that point. We didn't know she was dancing. We are kind of a religious family, so we may not have approved of it, but we would not have judged her for it. So now it makes sense. This girl was a part of the LGBTQ community. I mean, I think that's fair to say. She had a girlfriend. Family didn't approve of it. So she moved to New York with the girlfriend, which ultimately became her wife. Broke up. Divorced. Started struggling. Lived in a shelter. The state took her kids. But the family wasn't aware of none of this. Oh, and she might have been being pimped. They're saying that Clarkson Wilson was her pimp because he got a child by this woman, and I can see that. I can see him being that to her. He 43, she 25. There's no real connection. But it sounds like to me that Amani Armstrong was a product of a broken home. Now, that's not what I'm honest saying. But, matter of fact, I can't even say broken home. I can't say that. I'm gonna take that back. Because I can't go against what I honest saying. She knows it. But I'm gonna say this. This is what happens. Or this is the worst that can happen when you don't agree with your children's lifestyle. And it fucked me up, right? Because I feel a certain type of way about things. But this shit had me looking at it different. Like, damn, yo, like. Because what if that family didn't hold those certain type of values or certain type of morals or whatever you want to call it? Amani Armstrong might still be living. She might still be living, man. Because she might not have had to move to be with that girl. Because the family would have approved of it. And then the aunt say, you know, she could have called us. But she had. Because what it sounds like to me is she moved to New York from Virginia. And New York is a big city. Especially compared to Virginia. It's a whole different type of lifestyle. Price of living, increase and everything. So she might have been overwhelmed. But just because of the history that she got with her family, thinking that she couldn't rely on them because they didn't approve of her decision making. Or she probably felt bad at what she was doing because it go against how she was raised. She felt like she couldn't call him. And this is the result of that. It's a sad story, man. Fucked up situation, man. It kind of remind me of Tupac Black Girl Lost. That's what it remind me of. And we got to start being supportive of our children, regardless of what route they willing to take in life. Because what Imani Armstrong tried to do is she tried to do it on her own. Even once it was obvious that she couldn't. So she took on another job. She was getting pimped. There's no telling what else she was doing out there. And it's like, it can only go one or two ways. The other way we seen it was with the case I did yesterday with the jogger. Fletcher. Eliza Fletcher. And the person that killed her. Went to prison his whole life. Came home just like he went in. Both fucked up situations. Now this girl, Imani, lost her life. And I don't want to put it on the family because I know they probably feel enough guilt. But normally, this is how it goes. When you feel like you can't count on people. You think you got to do it by yourself. You're going to make a lot of wrong decisions, man. But in reality, she probably could count on him. But pride get in the way. I think this is another example of pride being in the way. It probably was an argument for her to even move to New York. So she moved to New York against her family wishes. She was only 25. So she probably moved there, 22, 21? Real young, still a kid for real. And her family was telling her one thing. She believed another thing. But once she got there, she seen that her family probably was actually right. But her pride got in the way. So she couldn't come back. Like, I fucked up, you was right. It's nothing wrong with admitting when a person is right, man. We all make mistakes. Nobody is right 100% of the time. But that pride shit, y'all know what I'm going to say. And if you don't, watch some previous videos when I talked about it. So only a couple places is going to land you. And this a fucked up case, man. Fucked up situation, man. Rest in peace to that woman, man. Lost her kids. Pride got in the way with that. She couldn't even tell her family. She probably wanted to bad. But then that would be admitting that she was wrong. And who wants to admit when they wrong? Now, let me know how y'all feel about this shit in the comments, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, man. Support the real, man. I'm out.